Elise and I met. I was doing a television special, a pilot for Stephen Chow. That was at that point at Fox, who, by the way, is a dear friend, also very instrumental in Cops and what have you. And he asked me to shoot a show in New York, which I was doing, and I needed a painting. I needed a big painting, and my assistant says, I know this girl, she has a gallery, but she also has a business, and she has a bunch of paintings hanging on the wall, the good paintings. Why don't we ask her? So we went there, and Elise comes out the door, and Elise is an amazing woman. And I was instantly taken by her, and I tried to negotiate this painting, but she said, no, you can buy it. I said, I'll give you $100. We carried it across the street. She said, no, you have to buy this painting that you want is $4,000, and and there's no negotiation. I said, then I said to my assistant, I said, can you ask her if she wants to go out with me tonight? I didn't even want to ask her. I was so intimidated by her beauty. And that is 17 years ago. That's how we met.
A friend of mine who was a locations person was working on a pilot with somebody, and he came into my store and he said, I'm working with someone, his name is Bertram, and he's shooting a pilot on the street for a new show, and they need somebody to carry a large painting, and you have large paintings in your space. Do you think I could send him in and he can talk to you about maybe using one of the paintings? I was like, yeah, sure. I'm thinking maybe I can rent it to him. We're going to make money, we're going to have the business, bring in a little more cash to keep the business going. So Bertram walks in and he comes over to me and he says, do you think I can use one of your paintings for the shoot we're doing? And I said, well, you can use it. It's artwork, but if you damage it or if you want to keep it, the asking price is $4,000. And he said, well, I don't really have that in my budget if I ruin it or, and I can't buy it. And I said, well, then, I'm really sorry. I can't let you have this painting. And he was like, okay, all right. And so he leaves and I'm thinking, oh, well. And my friend came back in a few minutes later and he said, Bertram wanted to thank you for helping us today. Do you think you could come? We're having kind of like a little cast party up at the Paramount Hotel. And I was like, well, I didn't really help him. I didn't give him the painting. And he's like, well, he invited you to come anyway. And I said, sure, I'd be happy to go. And I knew Dean McCann, who was working for him. And I said, yeah, you're going to be there? And I was like, and he said, yes, I'll be there. And I said, great, I'll go. So I show up at the Paramount Hotel, which I think was on 42nd Street, and it was like a newer hotel. And everybody met in the bar area, and Bertram wasn't there yet, but my friend Dean was there. And he said, we're all going to sit down and have dinner in the dining room, and do you want to join us? And I said, okay. And I said, where's Bertram? And he's like, oh, he's just finishing up. He'll be here soon. So Bert shows up, and he comes over, and he's like, oh, hi, good to see you. And it happened that it was time to sit down for dinner, and there might have been like 20 people. So we all start walking towards the dining room, and my friend Dean and a group of other people go into this one room with a big table, and I wind up being escorted to a table with just me, Bertram, and one other guy that I didn't know, and I was like, this is kind of strange. And that person, his name is Jack Walworth, who actually I've known now for the past 17, 18 years. So I was perfectly comfortable. I'm sitting with Bertram, I'm sitting with Jack, and Bertram is a very interesting person. He's got great stories to tell. He's from Holland. I was just fascinated by him, and I could have listened to him forever. And we had a really nice dinner. And at the end of dinner, we were talking, and he's like, I'm in New York every once in a while. I'd love to talk to you or see you again. We exchanged numbers. And I think we even exchanged email addresses, which I think this was 1995. And, the internet was kind of going and starting off slowly, but emailing was not like, the everyday interaction that people have, like picking up a phone call that is today. So I was like, okay, here's my email address, here's yours, and, I'll talk to you when I talk to you. So that's how we met. And from that day forward, I think we talked on the phone almost every day or emailed each other every day for 2 years while I was in New York. He was living in LA, and he was filming Cops at the time. And I think at about the 2-year mark, I said, you know, what are we doing? We were having kind of like this long distance relationship. I didn't know what to do. You know, Bertram was older than me, and I knew that I really, really liked him. I didn't know what people were going to think, but we just took it so slow. But I fell in love with this person, and I knew he fell in love back. So we decided that, you know, since he had his business really established in the television business in LA, that I would move to LA.